going to be this year. But I agree. I do need to let people know that you are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. And I'm Kat Hobson, host of Fate Magazine Radio with my guest, Mike Bara. We are not going to be doing normal breaks right now because we got a late start and I want to talk to him. So there you go. But when you discuss the changes that are shifting, I think that all of the things that are I'm more offended than you are, so I get to be, the wicked witch of the week this week. So, and next week you can, I'll offend you some. So then you get to go. And I'm so sick of that because you know what? Game playing is not for adults. It's also not for running businesses or countries or global organizations or anything. And I'm sick of these people they're doing all this crap on my dime. I'm so offended, right? I'm so offended by that. My money is supposed to feed and house people that can't feed and house themselves and provide medical care for people that don't, have any way to because they're children or women that were abandoned or whatever. Not people that are just being, riding that train. And there are those.
Yep.
But I don't mind taking care of people who need taken care of with my money, but I am damned if I'm going to pay somebody to come from Texas to ask questions that I'm paying people to ask in a hearing setting when they're not doing that job right. And all of this stuff this week has really driven me crazy. But I just think that I'm over it. I think that's what you're talking about with the politicians getting the message that everyone else is too. Am I right?
Yeah, and I just think it's going to take a while to clean the mess up. But I do think that we're, we appear to be headed towards a fairly big shift again here pretty soon. I'm not sure which direction it's going to go or how long it's going to take exactly, but we are definitely. I think we're going to have some financial upheaval in the next 6 weeks to a month. I think sometime in November. I think that temporary martial law is actually a possibility for the month of November, December. I think that there could be some rioting in the streets. I mean, look, I don't know who you believed last week in the testimony, and I don't really want to take sides here because I think both people have very strong feelings on both sides. But it seems very likely to me that the outcome is going to be that this guy Kavanaugh is going to be voted and confirmed to the Supreme Court this next week. And I think when that happens, there's going to be riots. I think the other side is well financed and there's a lot of stuff planned and there's going to be a lot of upheaval. And, and then who knows what happens after the election. And the election is going to be also very, very volatile. And we don't know what direction that's going to go. So I expect that there will be a lot of conflict over the next couple of months. So that's what I'm concerned about. Now, I'm not hard out predicting that, but I am going to be very careful. I'm going to be
you're
careful.
An observer. That's what you do. You observe society and you comment on it. And you've got a pretty good sense of judgment relevant to that.
I mean, really, no matter what happens, somebody's going to be really PO'd the end of next week. So
yes. And, it's okay to be upset. I get that. I'm a political science major. I totally get off on this stuff. I think it's fun and interesting, and I like discussion, but you can't have a discussion any longer because nobody can be calm and have that attitude.
No, and now if you have an opinion, if you have too strong an opinion, you can be blockaded off of social media.
Yes.
And I mean, come on, Twitter's the Wild West. At least that's what it was supposed to be when it started.
Yes.
You could say anything you wanted, unless you were a terrorist.
And 20 characters or less. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean that's what it was for, and basically it was, it was for tough, clever people, and if you're not tough and you're not clever, don't get on there. But now it's really gotten bad, and there's a lot of censorship, and it looks like the government may step in, and I wouldn't be surprised by that. So I mean, who knows? I
Right?
mean, who knows? And yeah, I mean, I realize that people have really strong feelings, both ways. But I think that I think it's like when that kind of censorship happens, it's that energy is just going to boil over in some other way.
Well, it will. I've heard so many people talking about options to Facebook, and I have accounts on minds.com and other places too. But I just think it's better in this instance. I was driving all day today, and I was scanning through channels trying to find something I wanted to listen to. I was coming up the news channels, hit POTUS and after POTUS comes Patriot Channel. Well, they had an NFL football game on the Patriot Channel. I don't want to watch an
Mm-hmm.
NFL game today or listen to an NFL game today. I'm looking for music or commentary or something, but I found it ironic that Sirius put an NFL game on the Patriot Channel. So it was kind of like an in your face thing to people that listen to that because they're very anti NFL right now. And
Yeah,
yet that was Sirius's choice.
yeah.
So it is manipulation.
Yeah, it is, and people notice that, and they get very unhappy about it too. And there was some other weird thing. There was some weird flag put out in Green Bay today before the game that wasn't really an American flag. It was like a blue, white, and red flag that looked more like a
What?
French flag than the American flag. And I'm
I
like,
didn't see
what the
that.
hell is because everything means something. And people have to
Yeah.
understand this symbolism means something. This is how, especially how the dark side communicates, is through
Yes, it
symbols.
is. Yes, it is.
And there's a lot of satanic symbols and things. If you start looking for them, they're right there in front of your face. A lot of times it's really flaunted. And I mean, one of the things that I was big on that I try to get people to notice is that during Trump's inauguration, at the end of the concert, there was a concert, right? At the end of the
Right.
concert, they set off fireworks. And the very last fireworks were supposed to say USA.
Yes.
It actually said USR. And it was not a mistake. It was definitely intended to be an R, not an A. And I'm like, what do you people think this means? Because I know what it means, but I wanted to see what other people thought it meant. And I got, United States of Russia or something like that, which I thought was
Funny.
amusing, but
Yeah.
not really. But it means United States Republic.
Yes.
And there is a difference between a democracy and a republic. And a republic is what we are supposed to be.
Yes, it
A
is.
democracy is what we have become. And there are very, very significant differences between, a citizen of a democracy and what would be the right word? A personage of the republic. There's a
Yes.
huge difference. And I think that was an intentional signal that we are going to shift back to a republic. And I sometimes wonder if that is not what we're seeing play out right in front of our eyes at this very moment. That's part of what I think the big war is going on.
I would agree with that because, right now, I actually had this discussion last night. You have now and this morning, I guess, but the people who are having the most hysterics are people keep slamming the millennials. It's not the millennials.
Mm-hmm.
It's the millennials' parents, the people who decided that everyone gets a participation trophy. The kids did not go out and say, well, I'm 3 and I'm playing and I want my trophy, dadgummit. It's the parents, it's their generation that decided, it's my generation, that decided that the post-Vietnam era children who, with peace, love, tranquility, whatever that's not existing and hasn't existed, except maybe at Woodstock and Burning Man, who are, they're the ones that instilled this mindset that everybody gets to be rewarded for somebody's work.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting point made to me by a millennial.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know, I agree
So,
with that. And I mean, it's interesting because when I was a kid, you know, only maybe the first, second, and like third place, maybe the third place team, like in baseball, in my baseball leagues, got trophies, you know,
right.
and we didn't get it. We didn't get a trophy my
And they
first
weren't the
year. We were one
same
of,
either.
and God dang, did I want to play better and win so I could get one of those trophies. I mean,
Right?
it's like that reward is the reason why I got better as a player, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a great lesson in life, and it's really important. And no, you don't get a trophy for just showing up or just being part of the class, or it's an interesting concept. And I mean, the millennials, I don't blame them for not being happy about
Taking that blame.
about that label, because it is really their parents.
Yeah. And, you know, I find it funny because I was a hard nose with mine. If they were
Mm-hmm.
wrong, if they were wrong, if they were truly wronged, I went to war for them if I had to. But I mainly wanted them to take care of that.
Yeah.
And they do. And now they're, all adults living their lives, and they never want anything except love. They take
Mm-hmm.
care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And most of my friends' children are like that. But I was taken aback when I was corrected by this 26-year-old who's like, don't blame us. It's
Don't
y'all.
blame, yeah, don't blame
You
us.
know?
Don't blame us for our parents being weenies. Yeah,
Right?
that was great.
It was great. It
Yeah.
was a brilliant conversation. She's amazing. But, yeah, so this is turning. This tide is turning, in your opinion.
Yes, but I'm not sure that it's which way it's going to go yet. I here's the thing. I have gone through this, and we talked about this earlier. I do think that this guy appears to be JFK Jr.
Right?
And if in fact he faked his own death, he's been in hiding for 20 some years. I mean, it's going to take some kind of a shock like that to wake people up, get them out of their stupor, and start to get them to pay attention to these really important issues that are confronting us right now. Because I mean, the truth is, we're all here now because it's time for us to choose, and we can't shirk that responsibility. So, nobody gets to sit this one out. You have
No,
to take a side.
you
You
do have
have
to
to
take
take
a
a side.
side.
And I, the tide is turning. I hope so. Sometimes I think so. Some days I don't think so. Some days I think the old guard is going to hang on. But we have to wait and see. And I don't know. Here's the thing. At this point, I don't know exactly what the tide turning will look like, but I think it will take something shocking on the level of, hi, I'm John F. Kennedy Jr. 20 years ago, I faked my own death along with my wife, and
For
I
what
did it for this,
purpose?
and I did it for this reason.
What do
And
you think the reason is?
well, I think that he was a target of what is now commonly called, the cabal or the bad guys or the deep state. I think he
Yeah.
was targeted because his dad was killed. This is Ancient Aliens and JFK.
Right?
His dad was killed because he knew about aliens. He knew
Mm-hmm.
that there was alien technology on the moon. He knew that he was being blocked out of access to this knowledge that the government had by unelected bureaucrats. And he went to war with them. And he said, okay, F you, not only are we going to go to the moon and get this stuff and bring it back and give it to the people anyway, because they were keeping the technology from the average person, but I'm going to go with the Russians, with the Soviet Union, and I'm going to share that information with them, all of it. So that's why they had to kill him.
Right.
And I think the same forces were lining up against JFK Jr., and he went into hiding to come out at exactly the right time. And, that's what I think's going on. And I don't I hope in 5 years I'm not here going, well, that guy wasn't JFK Jr., but gosh, he sure looks like him. He even has a scar on his lip that's exactly the same as JFK Jr. So
Yeah.
you tell me how that works.